All right. So wisdom is the ability to apply the knowledge that you have. It's not enough to have knowledge. It's the ability to apply it to your everyday life. Education is super important. So you got to apply the education that you get. And then we have to gain assets. This is what I had never done, to be honest, guys. I made a lot of money, but I didn't have any assets, right? And then legacy money is really truly things that you can truly pass on through the lineage. You cannot pass a job on. You can sometimes pass on your family business if your family wants to do that business, but you have to learn how to build in a system, Robert Kiyosaki said, and you have to learn how to invest your way out of debt. Most wealthy people, I don't believe, save their way out of debt. They invest their way. It's the cash flow quadrants. And then you got to develop habits that will lead you to that generational wealth. But what does that mean? Secure the bag and build real wealth for generations. Build smart, grow steady. So I am going to get out of the way and I'm going to introduce you guys to our guest. And what is so very exciting about this gentleman, and we have a lot more people coming this week as well, is I was just thoroughly impressed by his story. The fact that he is focused on principal lending. He's a principal lending manager. He's a business owner. He is a real estate developer. He is a investor. And this gentleman, guys, has 13 years of experience in mortgage and finance. I have to read because our educators do so very much. And he is blessing us to actually come over here and be an educator because one of the things that we want to make sure that we're doing is we're able to not just make money, but we're able to keep it. Everybody type keep it in the chat because I've made a lot, but I made a lot of mistakes as well. And now this time, I know that God is giving us one more chance to do it right if we put Him first. But I want to keep it this time, right? I want to build some assets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of the way, and I'm going to bring up none other than Mr. Tyron Armor. Are you out there, sir? Hold on. I don't think I made you co-host. One second. If you can raise your hand, that would be fantastic. Are you out there? There you go. All right. Now, after my rant, Tyron, don't hold me to it. I didn't even record that part, but I am so very excited to have you on. Let me turn your video on. Let me spotlight you. All right. All right. All right. All vibed out. I love it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's the vibe, it's the ecosystem. I'm excited, man. And Megan, so I appreciate you, right, for bringing me on board, because I truly believe in what you're doing here, right? So I'll give you a little background before I, talk to you about myself. But my sister and I, we did something called Legacy Wealth, right? And what we wanted to do was help individuals and help usher them into the mortgage industry, right? And that might be through loan processing, it might be through loan setup, right? But we wanted to teach individuals how to, have access to our industry, right? In my industry, you're not going to make less than 50, $60,000, as a loan processor. You're going to make six figures as an underwriter, right? And so we always wanted to share that knowledge and that access because again, I'm the principal lending manager. I do the hiring, right? I wanted to give people access to that level of income, right? My people, right? And so we ran a course called Legacy Wealth Building, and we taught, some young ladies how to do mortgages, right? And so we ended up getting them a few jobs, and so when I heard about what Vibe was doing, I said, "Oh wow, this is it." Because like right, we say we want to pool our resources together, right? We want to learn from one another, right? We want to, sharpen each other's swords and go out and conquer, right? This is exactly what this is designed to do. So I couldn't be more excited. I couldn't be more on board of a project because this is ultimately what I want to do as a Christian, as a man, as a father, as a friend, right? So I'm excited. So Welcome everybody. It's Ty Armor again. I'm a principal lending manager. I currently manage about 233 resources all throughout the country. Actually, the majority of my resources are in India. I work with a lot of folks overseas. I again oversee lending from processing, underwriting, closing, loan setup, TPQC, right? That's quality control. Everyone reports to me, and I kind of manage the business that way. So that's where, I kind of got my financial background. I actually went to school to teach because I love people. I've always loved people. So as a kid, I thought, you know what? I'm gonna teach. I can help kids. I love kids. I love people. Nothing closer to God than children. So I said, all right, I'll pour there. And I became poor there. So um, I quickly learned that this wasn't going to do it. I was a young father at that point. My daughter was 3. And so, I was 22. I'm teaching, barely making ends meet. And my wife and I moved back home. We were in Arkansas at the time. We moved back home and we decided to be closer to family. And in doing that, my family introduced me to the mortgage industry and I haven't looked back. So that was 2012. And I've done everything in the mortgage industry. And like I said, now I am the operations and lending manager. So that's a little bit about my background, who I am, what I've done, right, professionally. But then outside of that, right, so I currently own over 7 rental properties, and I'm actually looking to purchase another one next month. And I'm also seeking some government financing, well, not financing, some grants that would shore up some of the rental income that would come from those properties. So I also do, the real estate deal. I also have a company called Unity Technology and Innovation. And what we do is we outsource our telehealth platform to doctors and practitioners across the country. So if there's an opportunity, I'm not averse to seeing about it, right? While everything might not work, right? Nothing will work if you don't try something. So I'm one of those where, hey, let me see what it is, let me see what it's about. And then, wow, I learned that this stuff is a lot easier than you think, right? Having good credit isn't really difficult, right? Getting a mortgage isn't really difficult. You just need to know, right? My grandmother always told me the best thing you can have in life is an understanding, right? And so once I started to gain understanding about credit, about finance, about ownership, about businesses, right? It just took me to another level of, okay, wow, let me go and see what's out there. Let me give it a shot. Worst case scenario, I'll just go back to work, right? But if it works and it's been working, hey, I'm gonna keep working it. So a
So,
little bit about myself, a little bit about my background, right? I am married. I have 3 children. My daughter just graduated from high school the other day. She'll be going off to college, so pray for me there. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it, me in a nutshell.
so Ty,
Yeah,
so I had a conversation with you months ago. I actually stayed at your Airbnb. Thank you for allowing me to stay there.
no doubt, anytime.
I had to leave my home, everybody. Remember, guys, when I left my home, I called my dad and I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go be Noah and build the ark by myself. And Ty, you let me stay in your Airbnb for some time there. I don't even know how long I was there, to be
Yeah,
honest. Um,
yeah.
but I was able to really just, enjoy your property and be able to really just vibe out and learn. And I got a chance to sit down with you as well. You are a friend of now my friend, but you're a friend of one of my closest friends as well. And you guys have been friends for many years. And it's hard to believe that you have a child graduating from high school because or going into college because I know people might be looking like, well, he might just be fresh out of college, but that's the melanin,
Yeah,
right? That's the genes.
yeah,
But
black don't crack, right? I get that a lot. Go
but
ahead.
here's what I want you to share because I thought this was so interesting. I know you shared just kind of a brief overview of who you are and your family, but remember
Mhm.
you and I talked about your family, like, I don't know how much you want to share, so I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I do have some questions to
Okay,
ask you, but I
sure.
thought it was very interesting dating back to your, was it your grandfather or your great grandfather?
My grandfather. Yep, that's
And I
right.
don't know how much of that story you want to share of just like where you
I
all.
am you know what, Megan? I am impressed that you remember. I mean, like literally, guys, when Megan was here, when she was in my house, she didn't sleep. Like she was on call after call after call, and she's, presenting and explaining. And I was like, I don't know how this woman does it, right? And so, like she said, we had a conversation, and I was telling her a little bit about my background. I briefly spoke about my grandmother, but my grandfather also was an entrepreneur, right? So my grandfather graduate well, he didn't graduate. He finished school in the third grade, right? And of course, as most of our grandparents, right, they might not have seen it all the way through. And so he went into the military at 15. And then he, of course, came back home once he realized the military was no place for a man of his type. So he came home, and he and my grandmother, they had seven children. I'm sorry, eight children, seven girls, one boy. And he actually started, a liquor store, right? And so from there, he built that liquor store, and then he turned that into three liquor stores. And then also they bought my grandmother a beauty salon, which my mom and my aunts and all of them worked at for the most part. So, I think Megan wanted me to talk about that, just the journey of entrepreneurship, right? And how we've always, as a people, when we try to figure out what we can do, make something out of nothing. And I saw that firsthand. So as a young man, I knew it was accomplishable, right? It was something that I could do. Now, whether I wanted to do it, being at a juke joint and dealing with winos, right? Maybe I don't know that I wanted to deal with that, right? But it was something that I could do. I saw what they were able to accomplish, the amount of money that they were able to amass, right? My grandfather would have all of the grandchildren, and there's 17 of us. We'd have to put all of the coins in the little coin holders. When you go to the bank back then, you had to put all your coins in those little, I forget what they're called, but the little coin holders, right? And so we'd have to do that for hours, and then he would give us, a few dollars, and we'd go about our merry way. But from there, I saw, the amount of money that he was bringing in, and he would take our entire family, like I said, seven girls, one boy, their husbands, their kids. He would take all of us on a family trip every year, penny wrappers, that's it. And he paid for everything for everyone, right? And so seeing that, and I'm sorry to cut you off, Megan. I hope this is where you were going,
No,
but
yes,
as
this
you
is
guys can tell,
exactly.
I'm excited. Um, and yeah, that was a great story to share. And again, it was a great lesson for me, to see that, okay, we can do this, right? And I can really make something out of myself, because I come from East St. Louis, guys, right? And I don't know if many of you know much about East St. Louis, but when I tell people I'm from East St. Louis, they're shocked, right? Because it's, we were highest on the murder capital list, for a lot of years, right? It's a truly inner city, and poverty, right? And so, right, Jamaica, it's similar to some of your towns in Jamaica, right? I've frequented, I won't say frequented, but I've been to Montego Bay a couple of times, and I actually renewed my vows in Montego Bay, what, 2 years ago now. So I come from those types of origins, guys, and what my grandfather, what my grandparents, what they showed us was, hey, you can do it, right? Whatever the ups and downs, if you don't quit, you'll get there. So yeah, I learned a lot there.
So I'm gonna kind of fire a couple questions at you, because
Sure.
we have people on this call. Some of them are uh, beginning their wealth journey. Some of them
Hmm.
are very wealthy. I mean, in our education vault alone, we
That's
have
right.
multi-millionaire,
Yeah,
soon to
yeah,
be billionaires who
yeah,
are
yeah,
teaching. I mean, and you fall in that category as well.
yeah,
And
yeah.
someone might look at you and say, okay, well, he's young. Well, they don't really know how old we are, but uh, what can I learn? What would you say, first of all, is you talk about a little bit about what you're going to be doing over here inside of Vibe, because you were kind of not a last thought. I was like, oh, he's doing so much stuff and he's so successful. I don't know if
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
gonna want to come over here and teach.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's got an 800 credit score. He's got,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just kind of looking at all the stuff, and what are you going to be doing over here at Vibe though? Like, why are you coming over here? What are you planning on teaching over here in Vibe?
Yeah, great question. And so first, financial literacy, we'll do just a general breakdown, right, of assets, liabilities, just kind of talk about some of the key points of financial literacy, right? And then we'll kind of talk about building your credit. As Megan said, I do have an 800 credit score. So I know a little bit about managing credit. And in being in the mortgage industry, I've seen almost all types of incomes, guys. I mean, I've seen your business owner, I've seen restaurant workers, buy properties. I've seen top to bottom, right, in the industry as far as finances are concerned. And so over this 13-year period, I've learned what it takes to be successful financially, right? And so that's pretty much what we'll be talking through. We'll be going through some of the budgeting aspects, right? I'll be helping you guys set up a budget. I'll be helping you set up a savings plan, savings goals, right? We'll have some investment and interest calculators to help you determine what you want to save and where you want to get to and how many years it'll take you to get there. And then we'll also traverse into some more deeper level things like setting up your trust, right? Or you want to set up a will, right? So I'll also be helping provide you with some of the resources that you might need to establish some of those things. And then let's see, what else do we have in the curriculum? And then mindset, right? We'll talk about just having the wealth mindset because to know is one thing, but to do is another. Like Megan, you said, I think we all know what it takes, but doing it, right, and having the practices in place to accomplish those things, right? There's something that we don't have readily available or at hand for ourselves, right? So that's what I want to do. I want to put together some resources for you guys or for the participants, right? So that you have one again, a budget calculator. You'll be able to see what's going out, what's coming in, what do I need to adjust, right? How much do I need to invest over here in order to get this type of return when I turn this age or in order to meet this milestone? So we'll be going through, top to bottom finances, right? Where are you, right? What do you need to do to get your credit to a better place? What could you do? And of course, the curriculum won't be tied directly to individuals, but I have individuals and I'm an individual, so reach out, right? If you have a question, while I'm not a financial advisor, right? I'll share with you what I know, and we'll go from there, right? And we'll learn together in some of those things as it pertains to your particular situation. But, again, just really want to open myself up as a resource of someone who's done it, right? I've established a family trust, right? That has my properties, some of my properties, and then I have a property holding company, right? So all of the things that we want to set up and establish so that our children's children would be in a good spot, right? I can help you do that because I've done it, right? And so Megan, I think that was one of the reasons why you guys brought me on board was because not only do I have the things on paper, I've actually executed on these things as well, alongside my sister and my twin brother. Megan and I both share that we're both twins, except my twin brother is bright and he has gray hair everywhere. So I'm blessed in that regard, but he's just as handsome. So I'm not, I'm not trying to, be that guy, but I don't want to downplay him. He's a good looking guy. But I got the better end of the deal in some of those regards.
That's why I always say to when people are like, "You look just like your sister," I'm like, "Well, she's the beautiful one," and then they're like, "But you guys look just alike." I'm like, not that I was fishing for compliments, right?
Yeah,
Um,
it's a
but
twin thing.
it is a
Go
twin
ahead.
thing. So we got a lot of twins. We are just so excited because two heads are better than one, and that's why we brought you on because you're a doer, not a talker. You're already
Mhm.
doing it. So
That's right.
we have a lot of friends that are doing a lot of great things, and sometimes they don't have time to share. But I just want to say thank you because you've had time to come in and say, you know what? Your people are now my people. So this is a family thing now, and I know you've introduced Vibe to your family as well. I know a couple people had questions, so I'll get to their question real quick, and then I'll get back to my questions. Patrick
Sure.
said anything on proper ways to pay off debt based on formulas to pay off first, what most people do not know to be, debt free.
Good question, right? So there are a few methods, right? You have the avalanche method, you have the snowball method that you can apply. And the one I like the most is the snowball method, where you pay off your smallest debt first. And then with the money that you use to pay off those smaller debts, once they're paid off, you apply that to the next highest debt. And then what happens, guys, is within a matter of 3 to 5 years, depending on where you stand debt wise, you can actually accomplish that much quicker than you think, right? Or when you try to pay it off, I'm gonna pay this credit card off. And then, but it's, that snowball method really does work. I haven't used the avalanche method, but I hear it's pretty good. But the snowball method, I know for sure works.
Well, that's one of the things that I did. I mean, when I first started to get some money, I'm like,
Mhm.
I wanted to get rid of all, like, it was too much of stuff
Yeah,
going on. But then, sometimes we don't know. It's like, well, do I pay it off? Do I do that? And all of these questions that you guys may have had, you're going to be able to ask Ty because Ty, you're teaching live, correct?
that's right.
Yep. So Ty is going to be teaching live for us. So you guys are going to have an opportunity to log into your back office. You're going to have an opportunity to watch his recordings, but you're also going to have an opportunity to go to class with him. And as he's teaching, um, be able to ask him questions. So most of you guys know that I spent most of my life in teaching. And what's really important for me is to work alongside of Zia, who's our director of education, and she works directly with all of our educators. And just so you guys know what it's going to look like when you guys go to class, it's going to be set up the same way. It's going to be set up where you come into class and they're able to tell you who they are. They're able to tell you, here's what we're going to talk about today. Here's what we talked about last week. Here's what we're going to talk about today. Then they're going to talk about it. And then they're going to take about 15 minutes at the end of that hour to be able to answer your questions. So that is the flow of our education courses. So I'm excited for you to come along, Ty. Let me ask you this question, Ty.
Sure.
From your perspective as a financial educator, what excites you most about what the Vibe Vault is offering? You're living in the vault. We're kind of doing
That's right.
education this week. Tomorrow
Yeah.
we're doing the vault because the vault is our flagship. So we're going to meet on Thrive Thursday. We're going to be able to meet with our uh, performance, our mindset performance coaches. We're going to meet with them. We're going to do Forex on Friday. On Monday, we're going to do Young Moguls, Mogul Monday. And our Young Moguls are
Mm, mm,
your unstoppable next generation, YUNG, right? So my question
like
for
that.
you is like, it's kind of a two-part question. What excites you the most about being over here and Vibe when you're
Mhm.
already doing the gosh darn thing somewhere else?
Right. And for me, specifically, right, diversification is very important, right? I think it is the key to financial success. And so, yeah, I'm going to continue to do those things, right? But I also want to be able to help others, right? Like I said, I love people, and what Vibe is doing, you are bringing together the resources, right? And that's what we need, right? And so that's what the vault's going to do. It's going to bring together the resources for you guys. You might not, right? Everyone needs to know financial literacy, so come see me, right? But the crypto education, right? NFTs, sports bet, like there's gonna be so many different things, so many different lanes, right? That, you know what? Hey, this is kind of hot right now, right? Let me see what's going on over there. You pop in and hey, you can learn about sports betting or you could learn about crypto, right? Like I will be in Tiala's class. While I do own crypto, right? I own it on your major exchanges. She was talking about, DeFi platforms and things like that. And I'm late to the game. Like she said, I'm buying that crypto from her, right? I don't know if
Right.
because she's so, and so I want to be able to learn those things as well, right? And so that's what Vibe is, guys. you have an opportunity to connect with so many other individuals in so many other capacities, and you can, learn from them and you can apply if it's something you want to do. If it's not something that fits you, try something else, right? But you'll be able to catch some vibe and you'll be fine. So that's what the Vibe Vault is to me. That's why it's special to me. That's why this company is special to me. Um, and so, yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. So, and you mentioned all the different spaces inside the vault where we have Forex, where people are going to go to the Forex classes and they're going to learn. And then some are going to apply and make money.
Mhm.
Some are going to do
That's right.
sports betting and learn and then apply and potentially make money there as well.
That's
Some
right.
are going to be creating courses. I know, Ty, you will probably have a course inside of Vibe Global, right?
That's right.
So
That's right.
now you're teaching, but you might have a course over here that people can take on something very specific. So we're creating opportunities not just for the members, but for the educators as well.
That's right.
So let me ask you this question. What would
Mhm.
you say to someone who feels like overwhelmed by their finances or thinks it's too late to turn their finances around? Their credit scores are in the dumps. They don't have, and this was me, like as a high school teacher making 3,000 a month, but I was $700 in the red every month. When my kids were
Right.
little and I was teaching high school, I was spending almost $1,000 a month on childcare. So take $1,000 from my 3,000. Then I'm
Right.
trying to live somewhere, and then my
Right.
credit score is jacked up. I just got a divorce, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure you've heard it all, right?
Right.
What would you say to someone who feels very overwhelmed in their financial situation? Oh, let me add this. There's this commercial that I love, and this guy is driving a car, really nice car, and then he's cutting his grass in front of his really nice house. And then all of a sudden it says, "You see my car? I just bought it. You see my brand new house?" And then he's like, "How do I do it? Because I'm up to debt to my eyeballs."
Yeah.
That is so very true. I've met so many very wealthy people, and it's like they live the same way that I live because they just have nicer stuff, but they're up to their eyeballs in debt. They're stressed
That's
out.
right.
My doctor friends are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to pay back their student loans. And what would you say to somebody who's very overwhelmed in their situation right now?
Right. I always harken everything back to initially what my grandma said about an understanding, right? Understanding your situation and then setting a plan of attack, right? And so that's where the financial literacy course comes into play, and that's where budgeting comes into play, right? Is because now you can see, all right, what can I do, right? And once you go through that, you see what you have available, what you might need to scale back on, what you might need to ramp up, right? It's not that difficult, guys. To build your credit, it's really not that difficult, especially once you meet a certain age, right? Because a lot of it's on the age of your credit. But there are so many different things that you can do to get your credit score up. A lot of folks think that, it takes a long time for your credit to repair or, your score to get high. That's not the truth, right? It just isn't, right? It's about how you manage the credit. And if you do that effectively, your score will go up every month. I get a message from Credit Karma almost every week, your credit score increased. Or, and so it happens, and you just have to make a plan, right? And execute, right? And yeah, you're gonna have to do without some things, right? You may not be able to get to Starbucks this week, or you may not, you may have to cancel the subscription, right? There will be some sacrifice, but nothing great is gained without sacrifice,
Right.
right? And so, I would just say prepare to sacrifice something and let's go. And before you know it, like I said, with that snowball method, you'll pay off a lot of debt, right? And you'll free yourself up. And before you know it, 2 or 3 years down the road, you'll be like, wow, I can't believe I was ever, underwater. It happens that fast.
And 2 to 3 years is coming anyway. I know Latanya's on here and she's
That's right.
probably jumping out of her seat because I've learned so much from her and from Jay. They're out of Latanya is in Georgia and Jay is in Detroit. But
Mhm.
I was listening to her talk about insurance and how you can use insurance and
Yeah.
all of this
Yeah.
stuff. And I hear so much stuff for so many people. That's where this idea came from of Vibe Global is someone said, eat the elephant one bite at a time. I get so much
Mhm.
information. I was getting so overwhelmed. Like, you know it, Ty. Latanya, you know it. Put it in a course so I can sit still for a second and go through
Yeah,
7 to 10 videos. And I'll pay $20 to go through
yeah,
10 to 15 videos and take some
yeah.
notes on it and start to apply, and then I can move on to the next thing. And that's what we've really tried to create here at Vibe is eat the elephant one bite at a time. Let
That's
me
right.
ask you this question. I've
Sure.
really gotten into Myron Golden lately, and I know
Hmm.
Myron has been around forever and ever, and I actually talked to him on the phone in 2016. Didn't know it
Oh,
was,
nice.
or he wasn't the Myron Golden that he is today, obviously. But one
It
thing
was
he
it
was
was.
saying is in order to like get rich quick, that's what his video was about. He was
Hmm.
like, you have to first get a leverage business. He said you need a leverage business, and then you need lifestyle, and you need legacy. And I thought it was interesting that we are in all those areas. He said leverage needs to you need to have a bulk of bigger money coming once a month.
That's
And
right.
that's what really network marketing is the ability to leverage, right?
Hmm.
So, and then his lifestyle is like your lifestyle will start to change, and then you can then start to do the legacy building after that. But first, you got to start somewhere. Would you,
Right.
not would you agree, but could you kind of speak on why Vibe and the structure that we've set up for people to be able to share and make money, create
Hmm.
content and make money, um, utilize
Yeah.
our education and potentially make money. Can you kind of speak on the power of that when it comes to changing your finances around that leverage piece right there to leverage your
Yeah.
time? Um,
Yeah, because you're not only are you, excuse me, not only are you leveraging you, but you're leveraging someone else. You're leveraging my experience, right? You're leveraging my knowledge, right? You're leveraging my resources, right? So my wife, she makes t-shirts and cups and all of that stuff. She'll be leveraging the warehouse that will be spitting out some of her goods, right? And so that's ultimately what you need to be. That's one of the, I think I wrote that down. That's the key to success is leverage, right? Or to wealth is leverage, right? Whether you're leveraging payouts from an insurance policy or you're leveraging an index fund, right? Or, whatever you're using as leverage, that's ultimately how you become wealthy. So, this ecosystem is designed to give the community leverage, right? And you're just leveraging someone else's ability, their skill sets, their knowledge, and, their time and effort.
Absolutely. Well, let me ask you, I know we're at 157 and I've tried to keep you guys, not keep you as long, but I do want to ask this last question. If you can go back and teach your younger self one financial principle, what would it be? Kind of why? If you could go back.
I'll tell you. So it would be do it now, right? Um, and I'll share this example, right? I was doing a loan for a guy. He was probably 23, 24. He had 8 rental properties and he lived at home with his mother. So we weren't hitting him for a primary housing expense, right? And he was just being hit with the debt from those real estate properties, but he was also making income on them.
Mm,
So I said, hold on, you mean to tell me this guy has 8 rental properties already generating this income? I know he had to stay. No way this guy's living at home. He might have been, but no way he's living at home, right? With 8 rental properties in his 20s. But the way he leveraged the system, the way he leveraged his mom's house, what she was paying, right? And how he leveraged that to acquire more properties because of a debt ratio that didn't apply to him. I was like, wow. And so I got started.
so
I
you're moving
called
back
my
home?
sister,
Is that what you're saying?
said again.
I said, so you're moving back home? Just
I thought about it. I'm telling you, I seriously thought about it. But with my family and everything, but I tell you, I really thought about it. But I got a full-fledged 3 kids and a wife, and that wouldn't fly. So I had to figure out another way. And that's what I want to teach you guys as well, right? And so there are other ways, right? Like I just acquired 3 properties in the last 12 months for $1,500 is what I paid, and that was for the appraisals, right? So there are so many different ways, guys, that you can acquire real estate. You can acquire businesses, right? SBA fundings and all of the things, right, that are available to us, right? Again, you can leverage my experience, right, and look into those things for yourself so that you can say, okay, let me apply for that, right? And so, guys, that's what I'm here for. I'm a resource. I'm open. I'm willing to help, as much as I can. So thank you, Megan, for bringing me on board. I'm excited to be here if you guys can't tell. And so happy and looking forward to working with you all.
Well, we're excited to have you because when we start looking at Vibe Ventures is really about funding access. It's not just the Shark Tank model where people can pitch their ideas at events and we have a lot of fun with that. It's really about, like you said, understanding trust. I want my kids to be trust fund babies, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
watched a show called the 1%. If you guys get a chance, write this down. It was the Johnson and Johnson's grandson who had did a documentary. He was on Oprah and it was called The 1%. And he was really upset about the wealth disparity and how so many people are poor and then his family is so wealthy. He almost got written out of the will real quick because they was like, listen, we don't work this hard. And that's where I got the term, don't be blowing up the Apple card. I don't even know what that means. But one of the financial advisors for the family who was part of the family was talking to the grandson about, listen, don't be out here trying to make it seem like we're doing something wrong. And there's a way to get wealthy out here, right? They were really mad at him. There's a way to get wealthy out here. And I don't want to be rich. I want my family to be wealthy. And Myron Golden said you really have to get with the times. We are in a technological age right now. Back in the day, yes, you can go to college, get a good job, get a house, get some kids, and live out your wildest dreams. And that worked back then. Not that it doesn't fully work now, but now we do have to learn how to leverage our skill, the internet, the fact that, we can touch the world now. We're in 160 countries. And now we're going to leverage you, Ty, because I didn't go to school or learn what you learned, right? I stayed in the classroom for 17 years, poor. You just had enough sense to be like, let me do something else, or I'm going to stay poor. It just took me a minute to say, let me do something else, or I'm going to stay poor forever. Um, and I can't pass this to my kids. So we are so happy to have you, Ty, aboard. Our family, our Vibe family is going to learn so much from you, and you're so personable. And yes, I can go get some stuffy person in a suit, which you wear suits, I know, but I really want to bring on educators, and so does Reagan and Dre, who care about the people, who you're not a gatekeeper to the information. And you
Yeah, yeah.
sat down and blew me away and talked to me and answered all my questions. And my family, we want to build a family compound. We want to
Mhm.
have, like that Boosie, that rapper who's got his house and then he's got the houses back in the back. And then
Yeah.
there, Crystal DeHaan out of Indianapolis, she built a whole 1,500 acre or whatever
Mm.
compound for her family. Now,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be that big, but my brother Justin wants to build our own compound.
Yeah.
These are things that we need to know and we need to
Yeah.
understand. So I appreciate you for coming aboard just to give this to our family, to our Vibe family, to the Lynch Trice family, and anybody else who wants to gain knowledge from you. So leave the people with one thing though before we get off of here. Like anything that you want to share with them or any message, because they're going to be able to get with you once a week, right? And learn from
That's
you.
right.
They're going to be able
That's
to get
right.
with Isla and Barnaby and a lot of other educators that they have no clue about, but they will. Do you want
Yeah.
to leave the people with anything before we get off of here?
So I'm no philosopher, right? I'll start by saying that. But what I will say is, take it one day at a time, right? Whatever we're trying to achieve, right? If you're trying to build your business, right, one day at a time, set goals and achieve those goals every day. And before you know it, guys, you will have climbed the mountain, right? And so just take it one step at a time, one day at a time, and execute, and you'll get to where you want to be. The only thing that can stop you is you stopping.
Oh, I love that. Though I'll quote you on that one, right? It's the only thing that could stop you is you stopping.
That's right.
Right?
That's the
It
truth.
it is very, very true. Everybody type 15 in the chat. Take your 15 minutes. It's 1% of your day and really
Yeah.
digest. Maybe rewatch this video. Maybe you missed a few things, and I'm going to upload this recording for you guys to watch again. Ty, are we going to see you back tonight at 8?
That's right.
Okay, so we'll see you back tonight at 8. I know we have some other folks who are going to jump on tonight at 8 as well, so we can kind of tag team. But you are
That's
a
right.
blessing beyond blessings. I so appreciate what you're going to do for our new Vibe family. And I just want to say, just from the bottom of my heart, I thank you, Vibe thanks you. And let's go to the top, right?
And right back at you, Megan. What you're doing is phenomenal. What you're doing is God led, right? And it can't be stopped, right? And so what you are establishing here is a beautiful thing, right? And I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm excited for you. I know what it's going to feel like to build the ark, right? Everyone's called Noah's crazy, all of his friends laughed at him and all of that, right? And then he's sitting, when it started raining. He's just looking around like, yeah. And so it's gonna rain for us, guys. And so thank you, Megan, for taking this last step. I know you didn't want to do it, but you did. You're here. You've done it. We're starting, and I'm excited for you. So thank you, guys, and have a great day.
Thank you so much, guys. Give Tyron some love in the chat. I was actually trying to unmute you guys, but I don't know what I'm doing over here. I don't know why I'm all of a sudden non-techie on the Zoom. I don't know what it is, but give Ty some love. He's going to become you guys' his bestie, like he's going to be my bestie.
There you
So we appreciate you. Thank you guys. We'll see you back here at 8 p.m. Eastern. Bring your friends, right? They need to hear this
go.
stuff. We don't even talk network marketing right now. Bring your friends.
Yeah.
All right. See you later. Peace and blessings, everybody.